It was 11:20 before we rolled into the parking lot of Sprouts. Our heads were pounding from the cheap vodka and greasy food we slammed back last night. Got to bed by 4, and all I could think about is Parking Lot Tuesday.
Lon's been watching Mike Hammer on
I-
the computer before he goes to sleep. Can you imagine that?
I've been going to bed with Mickey Spillane.
That sounds so gross in so many ways.
Anyways, yes, we're an hour and 20 minutes late this morning, but we did a lot. Okay?
We've been to the co-op and to Trader Joe's.
We've been to Sprouts, the the
We
co-op.
don't even know where we've been because of the cheap vodka and greasy food.
Yeah. We slammed it back last night.
Actually, our treats today, we have a lot of treats in the car because I need fortifications. So we have...
Show us your okra.
No, okay. No, we had really treats. We splurged and got a carrot juice a piece at the co-op, so that's one treat. And I know Lon had a cup of coffee and I had 3 sips of it. That's all I should have. And I got, for the ride home from here, I bought at the co-op. I bought some inexpensive organic little cup of lemon yogurt, low fat yogurt for us.
We slammed back the yogurt and
Carrot juice and organic coffee. And
Our heads are pounding.
Okay, and then the junk food to add to that is Trader Joe's has this slimy, salty, with only like okra, rice bran oil, and salt, but it is fried. Okra.
It's
Now,
crispy and non-existent when it goes in your mouth, and before you swallow it, it turns to slime.
I love it. And it smells really good too, and tastes good. If you like okra in any form.
We slammed back
I like
the
okra
okra.
in any form. I like okra when you put it in soup whole, and then when you cook it, it turns to looking like a giant squid or an octopus, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. There's nothing like a green cephalopod in your soup.
Oh, lots of them. Then they taste good too.
Yeah, it is. I like the little seeds that bounce around.
Yeah. Golly, I obviously have nothing to say about
We had a guest. We had an overnight
a
guest.
wonderful guest. The wonderful, witty, wise William Witt came to visit us from the south, from home. Anyway,
I was on my way to the coffee shop. I was on my way to walking to the coffee shop yesterday, and this car pulls up beside me and just sort of paces me, and I try not to look because when you're a celebrity like this.
okay, excuse me. Lon's had too many interviews last week.
People are always the paparazzi, But it was William. It was William.
And I knew he was coming because last week I was thinking about William a lot. I saw a little Buddhist wheel pin that he gave, with the spokes that he gave me, and last time I saw him, and I keep it on a little table in the dining room, and I kept looking at it by accident 3 days in a row, and finally I told Lon we had to call William because I was thinking about him every day. And then Lon did call him, and we talked for a little while, and then
we talked about Monday night class.
Yeah, talked about Monday night class, and then Lon, we hung up, and then Lon accidentally butt dialed him back, and William asked, "Well, what time is class? The usual, 8 o'clock, 7 or 8, because he forgot, the usual time is 8. 8 o'clock, and when he asked what time class was, I just knew he was coming. So, but I didn't tell Lon, because I figured Lon could figure that out. So, anyway, so I wasn't terribly, I was surprised, but I wasn't shocked, because I knew when he asked what time class was, but I didn't know how that would happen, or even if it would happen as fast as 2 days later or whatever it was.
But it's fun to have him at
It
class.
was wonderful.
Yes,
but I wasn't prepared to, like I said, to treat him like a guest. I didn't have any. I didn't cook for him or anything. So we just had a snack after class, and that was it.
But we had he and a couple other people stayed, and we talked way late after class, which we can't do every time. But
he gave me a pencil, and I gave him an eraser.
Yeah. Gave you
Gave him
one of your
mechanical
Germans.
pencil, and
Yeah.
I gave him one of my German erasers. Yeah. Well.
But anyway, and he took off for Half Moon Bay this morning. So otherwise, I guess he didn't want to shop in the buckboard with us this morning.
No, and that's understandable, and it's really not fun. I don't like doing it. I used to be independent and go by myself on the bicycle, but can't do that here. So now I'm totally dependent on Monsieur DuQuette. Monsieur DuQuette.
Yes, in the buckboard.
I love the buckboard.
Anyway, do you have words of wisdom for us this morning?
No, except to be, well, it's good to see old friends.
William's going to, he's coming up again in July, and he's driving us up to,
Us?
he and me,
Oh, yeah.
up to Noticon in Portland. We used to go to Pantheacon always. William would drive a lot. And I was in Massachusetts at some kind of a thelemic thing, Ozfest, and I start speaking, and I just look up, and here comes William. He drove all the way from California to Massachusetts. So,
Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
yeah, he writes haikus, and now semi-obscene limericks.
He
But
phased out that, too.
he rides his bike around Orange County and writes what he calls baikus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he has a whole collection of baikus.
He should get published.
He's oh yeah, he's knows everything there is to know about Buddhism and Tantra and
Oh, really? I
yeah.
don't know what he knows, but yes. I don't know what anybody knows. I don't know what I know.
So
Except when a crack happens and things leak out.
so he's like a classic married monk. He's like a Buddhist monk. Anyway, is that it?
No, I really don't have anything to say. Try to make contact with some old friends or something. It'll make you feel good.
And celebrate. This is National Grape Popsicle Day.
Now, we lived in a county where they would test junk food. We already talked about it in Nebraska.
We were the guinea pigs for.
And believe me, we had every flavor of popsicle you could ever want. Peach, grape, what was it? Maybe even
Grapefruit.
Anyway, they were all, to tell you the truth,
Sardine.
wonderful. No, there was no sardine.
Anchovy.
No. But they were good. So we were lucky as children.
Yeah. Lime. Lemon. Yes, we had also some banana.
That's why we're drinking carrot juice and stuff now, because we had the best junk food you're ever going to have, and it isn't even now everything's not even sugar anymore. It's corn syrup and more artificial flavors than you could stand. So it's not even the junk food isn't as good as it used to be. It was bad then.
Well, anyway, get us something fun. Popcorn and peanuts.
Honey, we've got okra.
Oh.
Well, I'm not too fond of it, but every now and then. And it's not very expensive either. So.
Okay. Would you roll your window down as you...
I will. I'm sorry I don't have anything wonderful to say except
Sorry to see you leave.
connect with your old friends.
Oh,
They have something to teach you.
yes.
They have something. They had something to teach you in the first place, but you think you've been disconnected, but you haven't been disconnected.
No. And we've been really lucky over the years to have superior beings.
Yes, superior beings, our contacts here on Earth.
Okay, I'm turning the thing around. I beg your pardon. Okay, I'm going to put my camera up. Excuse me. Talk amongst yourselves,
And I'm
everyone.
going to get bundled up into my sweatshirt because another sweatshirt because the stores are cold.
Okay, let me see if I can. Okay. I don't have very much to say today. I think I'll just, let's talk about the secret of the ninth degree. No, let's don't. I've got something else to talk about.
There are no secrets.
I've got a work of art here.
Ron's getting very creative lately. He gets his guitar out, and now he can write in cursive and make drawings. See?
Yes. All of a sudden, I woke up. I
I
said,
think he's just thawed out because the weather's getting warmer.
let's watch Ed Sullivan tonight. And Mickey Spillane.
No, Mickey's
Anyway, what you see here is I guess I'll tip it that way, is a lance, okay, and it's got a pinion on it. That's that flag. Okay, and the lance says will, and the flag says love. And that image might be helpful when you're meditating upon the slogan, if you will, or the words, do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. Love is the law, love under will. That spear is will, but the flag, the pinion on that spear is love. Now, you don't have to be a Thelemite, or you don't have to even think you're a Thelemite, or pretend you're a Thelemite, or publish that you're a Thelemite. You don't have to be a Thelemite to be a magician. Sorry, if you're breathing, you're a magician. You're either a poor magician or an effective magician. But you don't have to be a Thelemite. So people studying magic now are getting interested in magic. And of course they're running into all sorts of Thelema and Thelema base and Crowley-esque kind of magic. And as yet, you may have heard horrible things about Crowley, and you don't want to get yourself involved in baby eating and things like that. And you don't have to be a Thelemite in this day and age to perform, practice, study magic. It'll work, okay? You don't have to assume any new modern point of view at all. You can still embrace ancient world views of the spiritual hierarchy and forces of the universe. You can still do magical techniques to attempt to affect changes in your life. You can think that you're a Christian or a Muslim or an atheist or a Presbyterian or a Shaker. Doesn't matter. You don't need to do that to study and research and practice magic. But in this day and age, it is easier, more effective, a more lubricated mechanism of magic if you are more in tune with the present formula of, I guess you would say, kind of objective reality. It's easier to perform your magic if you're not actually locked into the fact, to the seeming fact that there's a flat Earth. Okay, you can do flat Earth magic all you want, and it works in its own way. But to actually work effectively, you need to be better in tune, kind of with the way things really are. And Crowley saw the Aeon of Horus as a new recognition of the more accurate, more advanced formula of reality. Ages change because of human consciousness, and the level of human consciousness has achieved and is presently operating on. So, in a little tiny essay called The Message of the Master Therian, Crowley talks about these two things, will and love. And that's what I'm going to share with you this morning. It's very short. You can get on with your day if you will. But it's Liber 2, okay? The Message of the Master Therian. Only going to read the first couple little passages. The key to this message is this word, will. The first obvious meaning of this law is confirmed by the antithesis. The word of sin is restriction. Again, quote, "Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that, and no other shall say nay. For pure will, unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect." Unquote. Take this carefully. It seems to imply a theory that if every man and every woman did his or her will, the true will, there would be no clashing. Quote, "Every man and every woman is a star," unquote, "and each star moves in an appointed path without interference. There's plenty of room for all. It is only disorder that creates confusion." From these considerations, it should be clear that "do what thou wilt" does not mean do what you like. It is the apotheosis of freedom. Okay. But it's also the strictest possible bond. Do what thou wilt, then do nothing else. Let nothing deflect thee from that austere, holy task. Liberty is absolute to do thy will. But seek to do any other thing whatever, and instantly obstacles must arise. Every act that is not in definite course of that one orbit is erratic, a hindrance. Will must not be two, but one. Note further that this will is not only to be pure, that is, single, as explained above, but also unassuaged of purpose. This strange phrase must give us pause. It may mean that any purpose in the will would damp it. Clearly, the lust of result is a thing from which must be delivered. But the phrase may also be interpreted as if it read, quote, with purpose unassuaged. In other words, with tireless energy. The conception is, therefore, of eternal motion, infinite and unalterable. It is nirvana, only dynamic instead of static. And this comes to the same thing in the end. The obvious practical task of the magician is then to discover what his will really is, so that he may do it in this manner, and he can best accomplish this by and he gives the example of the practices in Liber Thasharb. That's sort of playing your memory backwards to try to judge or to climb on board the trajectory of your life, okay? Or other such practices as may from time to time be appointed. Thou must first, 1, find out what is thy will. 2, do that will with one-pointedness. 3, detachment. 4, peace. Can you see now how even though you can tinker with the technology of magic before you know what your will is, or are striving to do it, or becoming climbing on board the trajectory, the orbit of your will, you can do that. You can embrace old formulas and such, and just leave that behind. But until you're doing your will, you have no fucking idea what is or is not in your own best interest. So to do magic most efficiently, indeed, to do anything most efficiently, find out what your will is. And do it. But I digress. Then, and only then, art thou in harmony with the movement of things, thy will part of, and therefore equal to, the will of God. And since the will is but the dynamic aspect of the self, and since two different selves could not possess identical wills, then if thy will be God's will, thou art that. There is but one word to explain. There is but one other word to explain. Elsewhere is it written, surely for our great comfort, love is the law. Love under will. This is to be taken as meaning that while the will is the law, the nature of that will is love. But this love is, as it were, a byproduct of that will. It does not contradict or supersede that will, and if apparent contradiction or supersede that will, and if apparent contradiction should arise in any crisis, it is the will that will guide us aright. Lo, while in the book of the law is much of love, there's no word of sentimentality. Hate itself is almost like love. As brothers fight ye. All the manly races of the world understand this. Oh, Crowley. The love of Liber Legis is always bold, virile, even orgiastic. There is delicacy, but it is the delicacy of strength. Mighty and terrible and glorious as it is, however, it is but the pinion upon the sacred lance of will, the Damascenid inscription upon the swords of the knight monks of Thelema. Love is the law, love under will. Now, I've shared at least part of that with you before, but I thought I'd share it with you again. That's from the Message of the Master Therion, Liber 2, Roman numeral 2. Anyway, that is it for Parking Lot Tuesday. I hope some of you are still with me. And until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. Go out and do it.